history on YouTube. Do me a favor and give me a thumbs up, a high five, a message in the chat so I know that you can hear me, you can see me, and I have a stable enough internet connection from my phone to my device and that this is working. Perfect. All right. So, funny story from yesterday as we're waiting for a few more folks to get in. I was setting up all the things that I need to transition from running the call to preparing for the call to running it to jumping right in and doing our 9:30 agency overview that is for the recruits that funnel their way through ZipRecruiter, and then switching from that to selling. So I logged in to enroll here, logged into that thing, into this thing, and all of a sudden, a live transfer comes through that I did not want to come through. Let me tell you, I completely butchered it. I didn't even understand what the guy was saying. I don't even think he understood what he was saying, but it pushed me past the fear of dialing. Are you ready for it? Not just Medicare over the phone, but getting over the fear of talking about final expense over the phone as well. Now, you might not have the same kind of fear. You might not be selling over the phone, but we all experience some level of hesitation, fear, and aversion to doing something until we've done it before. Then what happened? I hung up on the guy. The guy, I don't know, it went absolutely nowhere, but it got me somewhere because I said, well, all right, well, now that I've done this, might as well just dial all these other ones and see what happens. And the results speak for themselves. Nothing crazy, no $10,000 days, no inflated numbers, but proof that if you just jump in the pool, you can do it. I also noticed something that is unscientific at this moment. There is not enough data to have this opinion, but I'm going to share the opinion with you just for a couple moments before we get started. I think, not just in the field and not just over the phone, we have a habit of overcomplicating the basics of what we do. There are ways to make it more efficient, of course. There are ways to make it more technology friendly. There are ways to use what we have to be more effective and more profitable. But simple is really, really effective. And I think, especially when you're looking to learn something new, grasp the concept of something that you don't quite get yet, the simpler you can keep something, the better. I'll give you an example. Last week and the week before, I was using all kinds of fancy dialing tech with the idea that it was more effective. Maybe it's just the season of the year with technology and tech companies and algorithms, but I watched a John Wetmore video over the weekend and I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe he's onto something. Screw all the fancy stuff. I'm just going to take the leads, put in my AirPods, and dial them. Guess what happened? I feel like more of them picked up than through some kind of fancy technology. Again, it's not data driven. It's not scientific fact. It's personal opinion at this point. But I do believe there is some fact behind keeping things simple. We've got amazing resources available from however you're choosing to sell, but all you got to do is jump in the pool, keep it simple, and start selling. And once you did, the rest will begin to fall into place. So let's get back on script and talk a little bit about why we don't accept anything but checking, savings, and the green Direct Express card. This is an important foundational topic that might be something you know and could teach, but I want to review it because it's important for everyone to remember. Before we do, quick touch on the numbers. So far this week, we've submitted just shy of just shy of 20,000 in final expense premium, which is incredible. It's something to be proud of, and it's something to show that there is momentum taking place that you need to continue to capitalize on. So keep it up. Wednesdays can be just as good as Tuesdays, and so on and so forth, if you choose to keep that level of activity going forward. Next, let's talk a little bit about what I just teased. How important it is to understand a question that was asked yesterday in Slack that found its way over to the Amplify channel that's been commonly discussed and debated forever. Why we only accept bank, checking, savings, and the green Direct Express card for a method of payment for final expense. Here's why. Pretty simple. Those other methods of payment suck. No, let me get more specific. So, we don't accept plastic payers besides Direct Express because of a number of different reasons I'll discuss. Now, if you've never seen a Direct Express card, look it up. Google Direct Express card and you'll see a picture. If you're not sure what a Direct Express card is when they give you the numbers on a debit card, all Direct Express cards start with 5332 or 5115. If it doesn't start with that series of numbers, the debit card number they're reading to you is not a Direct Express card. Obviously, checking and savings more than perfectly fine. If you didn't know this about checking and savings, routing numbers, look them up. You can look up routing numbers. You don't need to ask, they don't need to find it. You can look them up yourself. Routing numbers are based off of the state that bank account was open in. So if someone says to you, I have a Bank of America checking account, all right, Miss Johnson, was that opened up in Maryland? It was. Google Bank of America routing number, Maryland. Pretty simple. Routing numbers are regional. Routing numbers are always the same amount of numbers, and credit union routing numbers are usually twos, just so you know. Might be a little bit different regionally speaking, but that's something you can look up. Bank account numbers are generally speaking never less than 6 digits. Someone says to you, my bank account number is 1234. Well, they're either born in 1900 and they bank at, the First Bank of Mississippi, or they're making it up, or they don't know. Bank account numbers also are typically verified in a lot of the new e-app softwares that we use. So luckily, it's hard to make that mistake. But let's take this a little bit further. Why does somebody that doesn't have a bank account, a checking, a savings, or a Direct Express card, not somebody that you can do business with? Well, first off, everyone that receives Social Security must receive it by direct deposit. That's been the case basically since 2013. I think there's been a few holdovers that the government's recently corrected. Everybody has to have direct deposit. But there are many people who never had a bank account until the moment they were receiving funds from the government, and they elected to receive it on a Direct Express card. Also, there are some individuals that are unbanked. That means they've been so financially irresponsible for so long, they cannot have a bank account. Banks will not permit them to do business with them. Thusly, they're stuck with a Direct Express card. Now, let me ask you a question here. Does everybody here have a bank account? Yes. I know that for a fact because I'm the monkey in the middle with contracting. I know that everybody does. So ask yourself, if everybody here has a bank account and almost every adult that you see has a bank account, what does that say? That it's normal. And in many cases, most people are relatively responsible. And if somebody doesn't have that, that's not normal. I mean that in a respectful way. Think about it this way. If someone doesn't have a bank account and they're using some other method of payment, what's wrong here? Keep that thought in the back of your mind when you realize this. Also, keep in mind it's important to make sure as you're going through a final expense presentation, as you have to pre-qualify the person. You have to know within the first 5 minutes or less if that person has the ability to buy what you're selling. However, you need to conduct this pre-qualification. It's all over every script and every video and every training that we ever taught. You need structure and a step-by-step process to know before you go forward if this person qualifies or not. There is no reason to get to the back half of the presentation and find out they have no method of payment, they have no income, or you don't accept the method of payment that they have. It's very important to do this. I'll give you another example. I had a situation yesterday where I'm taking a Medicare call, going through the process. I pull up the lady's information. It's all in Sunfire because she's done business with an agent that used Sunfire before. It says on the list of medicines, mememetine. It's a dementia medicine. She doesn't qualify for me to have a conversation with her at all. I don't care if she sounds coherent. She looks coherent. It seems to make sense. I'm not risking it. She has memory impairment, and I am not risking in that environment doing Medicare business with her in that situation. You have to be willing as a business owner with the right level of training and understanding to disqualify people from doing business with you. Now, everybody here has a bank account. We already know that. Most Americans have a bank account. Everyone receiving Social Security receives it through some form of direct deposit. Now, let's expand on that a little bit further. Who takes Direct Express? The green one, 5332 5115. So, Transamerica, Security National, or Citizens Life. Everyone here has one of those three carriers, and any one of them are reliable options for Direct Express. The other methods of payment, why are they a problem? Well, pretty simply, those methods of payment, the chimes, net spends, your account, my account, green dot, red dot, all those things, they suck because of this. They receive their Social Security on a different payment date every single month. That means even if they tell you they get paid on the first of the month, they actually get paid 3, 4, 5, 6 days early, and it's a different time every single month. When you write them, the payment will never draft. I don't care what you believe or if you found one case 5 years ago that proved it otherwise. Statistically speaking, it will not draft. You will get a chargeback. It will hit the persistency you have with the carrier. Your carrier will lose money because it costs them money to write, issue, and underwrite a policy. Plus, you'll waste your time. This person doesn't qualify and isn't ever going to keep the policy that even they claim to be able to keep. And even worse, you're going to provide them with a false sense of hope that they're going to have something they never will. So let me repeat. We do not accept plastic payers. We do not open bank accounts for adults. We do not accept money orders. They will not mail in a payment no matter what they tell you. We don't accept Chime or anything but checking, savings, and a traditional Direct Express card. We don't change the Social Security deposits to a bank account we prefer to use. We don't open them accounts. And sure, if you're in the field, you could drive Mildred to the bank if you needed to get the bank information. There's nothing wrong with that. You could call into the bank. You can attempt to help them with online banking, but you do not assert yourself into their financial operations. Lastly, let's talk about draft dates. This is such a simple and important thing to understand. You might know this, you might be able to teach this, or this might be new news to you. The draft date that you set up for their payments will always be the draft date in which they receive their Social Security, VA benefits, or a pension. That means the draft dates should and will always be the first, the third, or the second, third, or fourth Wednesday. SBLI did a lot of things wrong in the industry or in their operation. One of the things they did right is they didn't let anybody pick any other draft date. Why? Because they ain't getting paid on any other day. First, third, or second, third, or fourth Wednesday, depending on how they get paid from Social Security or some form of a pension or the VA. Thusly, their draft date is the pay date and nothing else. I don't even care if the client says to me, well, can you set it up for the 5th of the month? I want to make sure the money's there. I'm still putting the date they actually get paid. Well, can you put it for a day after? Sure, absolutely. I want to make sure that, it's there when I need it to be. What they're actually telling you is I want to make sure I get all my money out of the account for the things that I think are important at that moment, and then everything else, let's just see what happens. All right. I will make a quick opportunity here that if you have any questions about anything to do with this, go ahead and post them in the Slack chat and I will answer them for you or the group will discuss them for you during the course of today. So, any questions on why, how, or what when it comes to banking, bank accounts, how you accept them, what do you do, and what we've discussed today, please follow up with questions in Slack and I would be happy to discuss them with you today. And let's get into part 3 of today's call as we run through the numbers. Who did what, how they did it, how much business they've written, what they've got left on their goal. And we have an opportunity to hear from one of our own who